Hello, fifth graders. Thank you for filling out the form about the science concepts you wanted to explore a little bit more as a review. Based on that data, I have created this workflow for you. I want you to pick at least 3 concepts that you are struggling most with and work on those tabs. As you probably remember, these are some of the major concepts that we have learned over the years. Mixtures and solutions, relative density, circuits, land formation, sedimentary rocks, and shadows. Throughout this workflow, you have the flexibility to work in groups. Please do not have more than 4 members in your group. And remember, scientists are careful and respectful. Before we start, I just wanted to make sure that I go over this workflow, so if you have any clarifying questions, you can ask that at the end. So, as you know, our motto in our science class is science is messy and messy is fun. Our goal today, and while we're working on this workflow, is to explore various science investigations and make sense of them. Connect them to the real world. I want you to enjoy learning and show your creativity. The second tab that we have is for our learning targets, your I can statements. And as you work through these tabs, I want you to pay attention to those learning targets. So for example, if you are choosing to work on relative density, your learning target for that particular tab would be, I can classify matter based on their physical properties, especially relative density. So as you complete every part of the tab and you have completed your assessment, I want you to place a little check mark here, and that will indicate to me that you have completed that particular tab. And we're going to use this kind of like our dashboard. Now on the bottom you will find a rubric, and this rubric explains to you my expectations for your product that you are going to create for each one of the tabs that you're working on. And that product will, can be either a video, or it can be a keynote presentation, or a collage of pictures where you are explaining, the science behind your investigation. So the main categories are explanation of concepts, scientific concepts, construction, creativity, and neatness, and your actual presentation. The maximum points that you can receive are 20, 5 times 4, and the minimum that you can receive are, the minimum points that you can receive are 8, 2 times 4 here. Now, let me talk you through one of the tabs because, I'll show you a little bit later, all the tabs follow the same format. So this first one is on mixtures and solutions, and we pretty much did this particular science concept at the beginning of the year, so this is a good opportunity for you to review. This is a little background information about mixtures and solutions. And it has some important academic vocabulary that you need to take note of, and that is something that you could use in your product later on. The task is that you should be able to separate various components in a mixture or a solution. The method utilized for separation should be based on the physical properties of matter. Now, I want you to, with your group, think about how you can make this happen, and what physical properties will help you decide how to separate that mixture or that solution. Now, good scientists always follow lab safety norms. We came up with these norms together, and I want you to spend a little bit of time in your group discussing these norms and making sure that everyone understands what the expectations are, and you commit to following them. And the way you commit to following them is by just making sure that as you have talked about it, you tap it for a little check mark. Now on our back counter, on our science station, you will have all of these materials, not only for this particular tab, but for all of these tabs. And I want you to assign one person in your group who could be, let's call them a materials manager, and they can go and get all the materials and make sure that you are careful when you are bringing materials to your table. I have added this little graphic for accountable talk. We have this graphic in our classroom as well, on our wall, and I just want you to make sure that you are using these questions or these sentence starters when you're talking to each other. We want to make sure that we are having accountable conversations with our peers, and making sense of our learning. Now, before you actually start the investigation, it is very important that you work with your group and come up with the procedure for your science investigation, and make sure it's in sequential manner, because sometimes you may have a step and you would realize later on that, oh, this is not working, and you'll have to go back to the drawing board. So make sure that and that's okay too. We can always start over. We have tons of materials, but make sure that when you're having this, this conversation with each other, you think about the procedures and make sure that everybody in your team is okay with which step goes first and, second, and then so on. Make sure that they're short, to the point sentences. We do not want long paragraphs here. Now, also, well, and then another job could be your scribe, the person who is typing out all the steps. Now, the third responsibility could be of a documentarian, or maybe you can call them your photographer. This person's job would be to make sure that they are using their iPad to take pictures of the various stages of your science investigation. Now, you will be using water and other liquids in this investigation, so please make sure that you are keeping your devices safe, and they are not placed on the table where you have all your science materials. So, that's just part of safety. And then make sure you take tons of pictures that you can add in this image gallery by clicking this little link here, and then it'll take you to your camera roll, and then you can add pictures. Now, after you are done with this stage of adding pictures, together as a group, you are going to work on creating a product that showcases your learning. Like, you've done everything, and you have learned about the concept. Now it's time for you to technically teach that concept to somebody else. Use your pictures, use your conversations, use your procedure to talk about what you learned here, reflect on your learning, connect it to the real world. Use your technical drawings, use your pictures, use your academic vocabulary from the background section, and create a product. It could be a presentation, it could be a video, it could be anything that you dream of. Now, the last thing would be a little assessment. It is just one question, but you have to use your claims, evidence, and reasoning to answer this question. So make sure that you read it carefully, look at the picture carefully, and then make your claim, use evidence from the information that you have, and then glue it together with your reasoning. Talk about why you think that your claim is correct, and cite evidence so that I can understand your mastery and your thinking. Now, this was just about mixtures and solutions. The next tab is on relative density, and it is exactly the same. So you have your background, you have the task, you have your lab safety, list of materials, and pay attention, they're going to be different because it's a different task. And then you're going to, again, use your accountable talk to come up with your procedures, um, document your learning. You are going to take tons of pictures and add them to this gallery and create your product. And then there is a different assessment question. But again, even with this question, you're following the same format of claims, evidence, and reasoning. Now, each of the tab has, of course, a different task, but I apologize, I don't know why they're on the bottom. Each of the tab has a different task that you have to do. So we've got circuits, we have land formation, which is the investigation where we use stream tables, and you can use the stream table and all of its materials to show how rivers or and glaciers are formed. If you can think of other landforms, feel free to explain that as well. And then the last one, or not the last one, the second last one is sedimentary rocks. And this would be more of a model than an investigation, because you are going to use this background information to create a model of sedimentary rocks. I do want to let you know that the materials for this particular investigation do have some food items like vanilla pudding, chocolate pudding, slice of brown bread, white bread, cereal, raisins, goldfish. But please remember that good scientists do not eat or drink during an investigation at any time. So you are not supposed to taste or smell chemicals, and in this particular incident, our food items are being considered as chemicals because they're part of your science investigation. So make sure that you follow the lab safety norms. But again, have fun creating a model of sedimentary rocks. And think about, why are we using goldfish, and what is being represented by cereals and raisins and all that. Again, you are going to give evidence of your learning, you are going to reflect and create a product, and then you have an assessment question. Now remember, as a student, as a learner, you do not have to do all of these 6 experiments. You can pick at least 3 of them, and you can pick and choose which ones you want to work on. You can work on these tabs with a different group each time, so you don't have to work with the same friends that you worked with on the first tab. Now this last one, the shadows, this is a little bit different, because in order to work on this, we will need to go outside, because we need, for this particular one, we need the sun. You can do a little mini challenge inside with lamps and the light from our projector, but for this particular shadows challenge, we do need to go outside. So if as a group you decide to work on this, let's make a plan of how we can go outside. Maybe I can ask one of our aides to go outside with you, but we will need to develop a plan for this. So let me know if this is something you are interested in, and then we can find someone to take you outside. If another class is outside for recess, maybe you can be there. We just need to make sure that there's an adult outside when you are conducting this investigation. This is what you have, and I just want to remind you again that before you start any of your investigations, please make sure that you go over this rubric, read the descriptions very carefully. Some of them may look a little bit similar, but the descriptions are a little bit different. As you know, while you're working on these tasks, I will be walking around and asking you questions. Feel free to raise your hand if you have any questions for me, and I will come over to you. I want you to enjoy your learning experience, but make sure that you are following our expectations, and that we are being polite and friendly with our peers. I am ready for all of you to have fun, so go ahead and you may get in your groups and let's learn some science.